Good evening, my name is Astrid Muñoz and this is my last video for my final evaluation. The topic of this video is the legitimacy of law. Why do people in Mexico tend to obey or disobey the law? So first of all, my personal stance is that Mexican citizens tend to disobey the law because of its lack of legitimacy. And I believe that this lack of legitimacy is rooted in corruption. So one of the main ideas that is questioned or talked about in philosophy of law is why do we as citizens obey it? And we have two main models or answers for this question. The first one is coercion, a sanction-based model. The idea that we obey the law because of the fear of punishment if we didn't obey it. But we also have a non-sanction model, and this non-sanction model includes factors such as social norms, moral values, and legitimacy. Now, according to Tom R. Tyler, who is an author that we saw during the course, legitimacy could be seen as the most relevant because it is not only sanction independent as the others, it is also content independent. And this means that people, if the law has legitimacy, people will obey it no matter what the law says. And this is different from, for example, basing the obeying of law in moral values, because if you saw the law as something that is not morally correct, then you wouldn't necessarily follow it. So that is why legitimacy plays such an important role in our governments. Now, in the case of Mexico, we have a general perception of corruption. According to studies, Mexico is one of the countries in Latin America where there is the highest perception of corruption. And this directly relates to legitimacy. So we're not talking just about general perception, but also about daily life experiences. And it is common for us to hear when we talk to each other as Mexican citizens about experiences with legal authorities that involve bribes or extortions. And this creates the general perception of corruption as something that is common in our government. And this impacts the legitimacy because therefore we don't trust our institutions, we don't trust the legal system, we don't believe it's there for our better interest, and we don't believe it's respected by the authorities. So why should we respect it as citizens? So this is why legitimacy for me is the most relevant factor in the way that corruption and obeying, or in this case disobeying the law, relates. And also, as Article 16 of the Mexican Constitution states, no citizen should be bothered by a legal authority without an adequate and written cause or motive. And so we are talking here about a constant, even daily violation of the Mexican Constitution. Obviously, this would impact the trust we place in our legal and political institutions, and that is the problem of why do people disobey the law in our country, based on the lack of legitimacy caused by corruption. And although some multiple measures have been taken, for example, the implementation of the transparency law and the access to public information in 2002, corruption is still very present, and the perception of Mexico as a corrupt country is still there and vivid. Thank you.